Hello, Mr. Cook again. For today's lab, we are going to create a very simple electric circuit. Simple meaning it has a power source. The power source will go through a load. In this case, it's going to be a little light known as an LED, a light emitting diode, and then you're going to draw it out. So to start with, you need to get your lab sheet. Notice it is written on both sides. And you will gather up your materials. You will need an index card. Small one works fine. You will use some foil tape. This we're going to use in place of wire today. It is a little piece of copper tape that's adhesive, has a backing. You need good fingernails to get this off. Use it on security alarms. They use it on cards. If you ever get those little annoying cards with the music that won't stop playing. So this is going to be electrical path. You need a power source. We're going to use watch batteries today, the nice little flat ones. And our load, or for our power, our light, we're going to use what is called an LED, a little light emitting diode. An extra tool that you're going to need is something to write with, a pen or pencil. Something to help poke a little hole into paper. It will help when we mount the LED later. So, first step, take your card and pick one corner, and you're going to take your round battery and you're going to lay it on the corner so it is completely in on the corner, and then trace it. We're not art show. There I have it traced. I know, a little rough. Then I'm going to fold it over so the circle part to the center is completely folded over. I'm going to take my battery. I'm going to stick it under the flap again. Lay it down, and I'm going to open up the flap without moving the battery and draw another circle. So it should look like this, two circles, an outer one and an inner one, and if I fold it over, they interlap. I want to connect it to a light emitting diode on the other side. We have a schematic symbol for light emitting diode. The center part is actually the schematic for a diode. By putting it in a circle with arrows, that means it's light emitting. I have seen it without the circle. Old school, I kind of do the circle. So I'm going to write this on the far side of the paper just so I know where I am going to mount my LED later. Voila. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this top battery A and the top part of my diode B. You don't have to do the label, that's just for references. Now I'm going to draw a line from A, from the center to the top part of the diode on my diagram. When we draw schematics, we like nice lines that are horizontal and vertical and at 90-degree angles. It makes it easy to read and easy to track out later if you become a professional working in electronics. So my first line or path will look like this. From the middle of A, nice horizontal line, then a 90-degree angle, down to B. I'm going to call my second little circle, I'm going to call it C, and the bottom of the diode I'm going to call D. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw a line using only horizontal and vertical lines to connect these, only turning at 90-degree angles. Voila. Now I'm going to run my electrical paths. I'm going to get my tape, peel it off a little so I have a good connection. I will start with point A. Make sure you get well into the circle so the battery has something to touch. This will stick as you touch it to the paper. I will run it across the upper track. A little hard to do in the air. So I get to here, and then I'm going to fold it without breaking the tape. And I'm going to run it about to the middle of my picture of the diode. And then take a scissor and snip it. So now I have a copper conducting path running from point A to point B. I'm now going to do it from point C to D, follow the same path, carefully folding, making sure on the ends these two little pieces of copper here by my finger do not touch. That is highly important. Go down, carefully overlap and bend it. Get to the bottom part, carefully overlap and bend it. Don't let the copper touch. And I have a path going out. It is absolutely crucial that this part right here, that the coppers do not touch each other. Then I am going to take my little poking device, and on each piece of copper, the upper part and the bottom, I'm going to start a little hole. I just started. I don't poke this all the way through. I just get a little hole started. It makes things easier for the next step. Got some little holes. Now I'm going to take my diode and I'm going to splay the legs out a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick one leg in one hole, hopefully push through, and the other in the other hole. So my diode is stuck in there. Now I could push it down a little, or I can lay it over, maybe bend the legs in the back. I'm going to just lay it over this time and splay it a little. The important part is I want one leg on one track, one leg on the other track, not touching. Now I am going to take my battery and place it, this is easier on the thing, in one of my circles, the inner circle, and I am going to fold this over. If nothing happens, squeeze tight and wiggle a little. Here's something Mr. Cook didn't tell you. There's a 50-50 chance it may not work the first time. LEDs only work with current flowing in one direction. If it doesn't work, what I'll do is I'll take my battery, I will flip it around so the current will flow in another direction, and then when I press it together, voila. Once again, you have a 50-50 chance. Later on, we'll get into how to figure out exactly the way the current goes. So when this flap is going, I have current running through my battery, along my things, through the diode, lighting it because it's running in the right direction now, and back to the battery. I have completed a complete simple circuit. This little part works as a switch. I can turn it on and off. It's a little hard to do this way by playing with this on and off. Looks cool. Sent out Morse code. So this will be the simple circuit. Once you get it going and lit, you will come and show it to me, and I will go like, awesome, you have made your first electrical circuit. Turn over the page and complete the rest of the lab. So you're now going to flip over it, and I have the symbols, some of them I went through before. Our flap serves as a switch. We have a schematic standardized symbol for a simple switch. Notice it has dots here, it has a wire up. So if I close it, it's working. If it's open, it shuts off. I have it open in the wire. We usually draw it open. We run through a battery, and this is the symbol for battery. It goes back to battery cells. We draw a big line and a little line for each cell. Most standard now will use 2 big lines, 2 small lines. I've often seen them now with just 1 big line, 1 small line. The idea is it's a battery. I don't care which one you draw. This is old school. This is what Mr. Cook tends to use. And then, of course, our little source of light is the LED. I've already given you the symbol for that, and it should be on your card. And then an electrical path is simply a solid line. A solid line means that is the area the current can flow through. So on the next part down here of your page, you're just going to draw out the circuit you created on your card. Almost looks exactly like a card. I will start off with my switch. Remember, we like horizontal and things, so I have a nice switch. Make those little dots a little bigger. My switch goes to the battery. Small line, big line, small line, big line. I have a battery. Remember, we do horizontal and vertical lines. So I would extend these lines horizontal, And then vertical, essentially the path we did with our copper wire, solid lines, and then draw on our final element, the LED. And there you should have a drawing that looks something like this as your simple circuit. I have a battery source. When I close the circuit, when I close the switch, current can flow through and come back to where it was. It makes a complete circuit, complete lap, as we can think of that. And you have it done. Very simple one. After you have drawn that here, bring the sheet to me. I need to sign and date it. That means that I have watched you do this, or some other teacher has watched you do it. I know you're not just grabbing somebody else's lab sheet and turning it in. Enjoy your circuit lab.